Hello. Good evening. My name is Obindako. I want to share with you today or tonight on leadership, which is needed when you set out to start your business. If it is your first business, you would underplay the importance of leadership. If it's your first project, you will not even have the depth of knowledge to start to understand how crucial it is to provide that leadership that is needed in getting something off the ground, like a startup or doing any project. It's so crucial. And yet, if it's your first time, you may not even think of it as important. Most people don't even see the relevance of providing leadership in a partnership, because most people who have technical skills, maybe he's an engineer, he's a doctor, he's a lawyer, maybe he's a salesperson, when they are trying to get together to start a business, they think that what is really needed is just the technical expertise. And for me, the technical expertise is just maybe 10 to 20% of what is really needed to get the business off the ground. Why? Because there is a lot of courage that is required for a business to start. A lot of courage, because you're taking risk. You're going into an unknown place, and most people are very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable trying to start a business. So that element that we call leadership is so crucial, and very few people probably understand it in their first business. But after a while, you will see the importance of having leadership in trying to start anything. Understanding it and providing it is so crucial, because it is the power that binds everything. It's the power that holds everything together. Whether the business is going to work or is going to fail rests on the leadership that you provide as the business person who has started, or as the promoter, or as the one who has originated the idea. Is everything. And yet it's that which we usually don't understand right from the beginning. What is the vision of the business? That vision is carved by the leader, and is provided by the leadership. How is the business going to focus? What is it that you are going to focus on? How do you understand the market? How do you understand your numbers? How you understand your product? What are the strategies that you're going to use? That is required. That is something that is provided from the leadership. All humans look up to a leader in trying to achieve anything, whether they are building a family, whether they are building a company, whether they are building a country. All successful companies are run by good leadership. And yet also unsuccessful countries, same thing. But what makes these leaders, what makes them, what is it about them that makes some people successful as people who are able to start a business with nothing, with no money, with no expertise, with no network, and to lift it to a level in any economy, in an appreciable level? The first is for you to understand that this which we call leadership is so crucially needed. You should study it. If you start the business, you should study it and how you are going to provide that leadership. It is the backbone of the whole idea. Everybody is looking up to that leadership. If they don't find it, they will leave, or they won't stay, or the business will have no life. And you cannot provide that leadership until you yourself have provided the leadership for yourself, which means you should be able to lead yourself before you can try to lead any other person. What are your personal values? What is your character? What is the expression of your self-confidence? What is it that you will stand for? What is it that you will not stand for? Those things, if you have been practicing them at the personal level, you'll be able to provide them when you start a business and you have a team around you. If you have not handled that at the personal level, it is almost impossible for you to provide that kind of leadership to people. You know, so you first have to provide that leadership yourself. What is what do you call risk, or what do you call risk, so to say? What do you call important? Do people mean anything to you at all? What is your character? What are the ethics that you have? What do you value? Those things shape your leadership at the personal level. How do you handle your resources? How do you handle your time? Are you able to tell the truth, or you shy from the truth? Those things, because those are the tenets that people are looking out for. So if you practice them in your personal life, then you'll be able to practice them when you have people around you and you are trying to pick something from the ground, you know, as a business, and build it. And usually, it's not something that is really taught. It's something that by another person, so to say. They can make you conscious of it. They can make you aware of it, but you have to develop this thing you call leadership yourself. You know, or your business will not work. Why? Because it's leadership that is able to withstand the pain. It's leadership that is able to forgive the people who make a lot of mistakes, but you still see the quality in them and say that listen, let's get on going. It is leadership that is able to have the patience to go through the idea, to go through the process, to make sure that it gets to a level that it starts to work. It's that leadership. It's the leadership that is able to build the culture which is productive, the culture which gets results, the culture which is unique to the business. It is that leadership. It is that leadership that is able to make sure that the business is profitable. And once the business starts to make money, the leadership will not start to waste the money. It's the leadership that is able to make right decisions in terms of what revenues come to the business or what revenue does not come to the business. It is everything. The business has the technical aspect, the aspect that is producing the product or the service. And the business must have the other aspect, which is the leadership that is so needed. And most often it's required from the beginning, from the one who started the business. And he may be so busy, or she may be so busy trying to make money, and forget that for the business to work, he has to provide that kind of leadership. You have to provide that exuberance of self-confidence, so that people can look up to you and say that this thing is working or this is not working. People, when people are down, when everything is coming against you, it is that leader who will stand up to say that listen, this thing will work. We just have to try more. We have to keep going more. That is leadership. It is everything. It is everything. Your team always is looking for a leader. There's no leader without a team, you know. So they are always looking for you, your expertise, whether it's the technical or everything, the human skill, everything that you need to make sure that the business is picked from the ground. How do you handle pain, for instance? How do you handle disagreement? How do you see the values in your team? That is a requirement of leadership. You know, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to be the most intelligent. You only have to know that this person is as valuable as I am, but I happen to have started this business. That's why I'm the leader of this business, but they are as important and they are as valuable as I am. And so that you don't try to paint the picture that you have all the answers, all the solutions, and nobody has the solution. You know, that is a psyche that you have to have, because you have to see the value in people. You have to see the importance of getting the expertise of other people on board. You have to have a strategy, and that strategy is not the only one who is coming up with a solution. You know, and the leadership is what gets everything done. It shows the power of the team. The team looks up to you. Is the team murmuring? Is the team down? You know, that is what people look out for. People look out for that power, that resilience, that strength that comes from the leader. You affect everybody by the expression of the leadership that you provide. The leadership is so crucial, it's so needed. And so when you start the business, don't think that is not part of it. And most people underplay, especially in partnership. Most people underplay the value of leadership that some other partners bring. and yet is that which holds everything together. Some problems can be created because you don't have skill. But once you create problems because you don't have the skill, don't have the expertise and everything. But really, the problems were created because there was no leadership. And when you're also solving any, for instance, in the construction field, the whole project is a problem that we are solving. We have not built the house and then it got broken down. No, we are solving a problem that also needs a leader. That needs people look up to who will give us the direction to follow, who will call the shot. And the leader must have courage. You must have the boldness to sometimes say that this is the path. And if nothing works, you are the one to say that, yes, I made this call, it's not worked, or it has not worked. I own up to this problem. And then, but when it works out, you are not the only person to take the glory. When it works out, everybody is on board. But when it doesn't work, the word is said that when it doesn't work, it's the problem of the leader. And that is what makes leadership very uncomfortable. It makes the leadership very uncomfortable because when it doesn't work, nobody wants to take the blame. Yet leadership must take the blame when it doesn't work. A leader is there to say that, yes, even when you are not the one who was directly responsible for the mess, you still take ownership of the problem. You still take ownership of the mess. That makes you a leader. The leader is not the one running away from the problem. The leader is the one who is going into the fire when everybody is going out of the fire, because there has to be that person before the business can work. If there is nobody on the team who is like that, the business will never work. There has to be that person who will say that I'm ready to put my neck on the line for everything for us to give a shot, whether it will work or it will not work. And yet that is not what people look out for. And that's why it's so crucial is the courage from the leader, is the kindness from the leader, is the empathy from the leader. That is what so crucially needed when you start a business. Because you set the vision, you set the goals, you create the culture, you encourage the people, you inspire the people, you decide which resource, which time should be spent where, which time should not be spent where. That strategy that you have sat down to map out with the team, you are the one responsible to call the shot. And whenever you see any business failing or any project failing, it means that there was no leadership. Somebody did not call the shot. That's why there was a problem. Whether the person knew it, but he was not confident enough to stop whatever mess was going on, or he didn't know it at all. So any business that works, it worked because there was proper leadership. And if it doesn't work, or if it didn't work, it didn't work because there was no leadership. That is it. There was no leadership. There was no proper, courageous leadership to say that this is the path we want to take. If it goes bad, I am responsible. If it doesn't go bad, we are all responsible for the victory. That is the strength that is needed for any idea to pick up, for any idea, for any business to succeed. That strength is provided by the leader. And so never underplay the importance of leadership in your business. And you should know that once you start that idea to build a business, you have pushed yourself into fire. You have pushed yourself into that area they call leader. You may not be prepared for it. You may not have done it before. But once you start to say that I've started the business and you get one employee on board, you have pushed yourself into that thing we call leadership. And you should never be afraid of disagreement. You should never be afraid of criticism. You should be open to new ideas, to feedback without getting offended. That is called leadership. You are inspiring people to be on board. They are human beings with their will. They will come and tell you this is good, this is not good. You don't have to create fear in people for them to work with you. They have to be treated fairly and kindly. At the same time, their mistakes are your mistakes. But your mistakes is likely not their mistake or their mistakes, So everybody's decision in the business is your responsibility. You may not be making them, but it's your responsibility. That's why you set the culture to make sure that this business works well. That's why you develop the culture, because the leadership is responsible for the culture that is productive for the business to work. The leadership is responsible for the values. for the ideas that the company holds, for everything that the company stands for, is the leadership. And it's your duty to make sure that you enforce it. For instance, if you so much believe in giving your customers good customer service, and you go to your business and you see that they are doing otherwise, you enforce it. You call whoever was responsible for the mess, and you tell them that this is not workable. This is not what we are looking at for. So you are always setting the strategy, setting the plan, setting the path, and then you are not afraid to call the shot where it needs to be called. And these are the things that you may not have had when you start, because if it's your first one, you will never think that the leader. What does it even mean to say that you have to be the leader of the? You don't. No, it's not just the card that they write the managing director or CEO. No, that's not it. What is it? Is you setting the idea, setting the momentum, setting the focus, setting the culture, setting the things that make the business works. And that is the leadership. You are not afraid to be held responsible. You are not afraid to be told no. That is the leadership. And that toughness, that side, is what most people underplay. And so when they start and everything is falling, they want to run away. No, you don't run away. You start to build yourself as a leader. You start to build yourself, because that is what is needed to hold the idea, to keep you going, to keep you focused. Even if you are the only employee in your business, the same thing. You hold yourself tight. You stay. You don't run away. You exhibit that confidence in the vision that you have for the business. In the vision, in your you exhibit that boldness in the goal, in yourself, in the people around you. You exhibit that. You don't crumble. And that requires leadership. And leadership is patient to make sure. It's patient enough to make sure that the idea is realized. And it doesn't matter how many years they change. They can improve the technology. They can improve the methodology. They can improve the ideas. The leadership is the one with the torch trying to maneuver to make sure that we hit the target. So it's so much important, the leadership. If you are starting a business, apart from your idea and your product, school yourself in how you're going to lead your business. Is everything. And you get to increase in your leadership skill as you stay at it, as you become. Nobody was born with it. But your ability to manage one person, 2 people, 5 people, 20 people, 100 people, whatever the number is equivalent to the leadership that you have, the leadership skills that you have, and people would always demand you to be ethical. People will always demand from you to be kind. People will always demand from you to put yourself last, not first. Not first. If you're putting yourself first, you are not the leader. If you're self-focused, if you're selfish, you are not the leader. You are one of the other ones. You're not the leader. The leader is always the last. You are the last to take care of yourself. Everybody has to be fine before the leader is fine. So some people have positions, and so they put themselves first. Once you're putting yourself first, once you're blaming everybody for the problem, once you're not responsible for anything, you're not the leader. You just hold the position. If you're the leader, the mess is yours. You are the last to leave the room. You are the last to be held responsible. Especially if the business does not work. If the business does not work, everybody can move and go and find another job. But you as the leader would have to look at the situation, analyze it, and take that which is yours. If the business works, it's the glory of everybody, I tell you. Everybody will come and say that I did this, I did that. And that's fine. That's human nature. It's fantastic. Share the victory with everybody. But when it doesn't work, then don't get disappointed that everybody will run away from you, because that is part of life. This is life. So always understand that once you start your idea, the next thing that you will need is the leadership that you have to provide. It binds everything. It holds everything together to the point of you realizing your dream. People will always look up to the leader. They look out for direction, they look out for encouragement, they look out for inspiration, they look up to you to be ethical, to be kind, to be forgiving. Those are the things that they are looking out for. They are looking up to you to tell them what is in them that they can do. They look up to you to give them express confidence in them. That is the leader. They look up to you to take responsibility for the mess. That is the leader. you know, and that is what I have to say. The sense of agency of your team is largely dependent on how you culture the business. You put that sense of agency in them. They don't have to put things on hold when you would not put that thing on hold. And how do you establish that? You establish that by encouraging them, by teaching them. And that is required from leadership. And as a leader, your idea is also to make sure that the other people on board also become the things that you so hold dearly in the business, you know, so that when you're not there, they will be as effective as you are, or even more effective than you, you know. So that is leadership. It's so much important. It holds everything together. If the business fails, if the country fails, if the work fails, if the relationship fails, it's because there was no leadership. There was no leadership. If there is leadership, it will not fail. It will not fail, because leadership will always look for the solution, not the blame. They will always look to solve the problem. The leadership exhibits the power, the toughness of mind, the strength of your emotions. You know, when you are there, you're stable to make sure that everything. It doesn't mean that you are not human and you may not, but you know, that is the force that is needed to hold the idea. If you give up, everybody will give up. You know, and you are the one to keep stressing the vision of the business, the purpose of the business, the training required, the culture needed for the business. That's why one business is different from the other, because the one who is leading the business is different. You know, people have different kind of strategies. So the DNA of the business is established by the leadership, and it's actually an extension of the leader. And so if it doesn't work, it means that you were not prepared as a leader, or you gave up as a leader. And if it works, the glory is not only yours, it's for everybody, you know. And if it's not working, you have to make sure that it works. They look up to you, the expression of your patience, the expression of the vision of the goals, the expression of the strategy, the plan, you know, how you are handling the money. They look up to all that, you know. And humans are very complex element in the universe, very complex. But it's leadership that is required to get anything done. And business is not different from that. So train yourself in that is everything. It's far more important than any other thing that you're training on the business. The leadership that is needed to hold everything and to grow the business and to keep pushing is so much important. So leadership is everything that you have to provide. And so thank you very much. Good night.